Hey, top of the morning to you. This is Brian. I hope you are doing well today. I stayed up late, watched a few shows last night after a long work week of creating. A lot of creating for some other people and some creating for me. I come here every week or more to tell you about my 5 pillars: God, family, abundant life, adventure, and technology. I'm sitting here. I just got done dealing with a bunch of technology. We have our new audience on LinkedIn today. We have Facebook, we have YouTube and LinkedIn, and then this also goes over onto my website, briansyme.com. I just want to talk today a little bit about abundant life. One of the things that feels abundant, I need a wider camera. Feels abundant, but isn't feels abundant, but isn't abundant. I gotta think about that camera. Yeah, getting distracted. What is your creation consumption ratio? What is your consuming consumption ratio? Consuming creation ratio. What are you consuming and what are you creating? And it really gets down to one thing in the world, in the life. And oh yeah, I was thinking about calling you. That's not creating. It's thinking. That's just consuming calories, consuming energy. But actually picking up that phone and making that call, that's when the creation comes in. And that's like the simplest example. But sitting around in your life day to day, what are you consuming and what are you creating? A lot of times I get fooled thinking, oh yeah, I'm creating. Feels like I'm creating. I'm doing something that feels like I'm creating. I'm studying something, I'm learning something, I'm reading a book, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to the top of the morning to you. I'm doing good things. But I'm not doing great things. You've probably heard it, from good to great. There's a book out there by somebody, but good can get in the way of great. I had a phase in my life, and I always go back to that phase. I repeat this phase over and over and over, where I'm consuming and I'm consuming and I'm consuming good stuff. I'm learning good things. I'm studying about good stuff and not creating anything. Or my creation level goes way down and my consuming level goes way up, and I'm consuming all this stuff and not putting it into play, not putting it into action. One of the ways I prevent that is having my life plan. Every week I read through my life plan and I go through and I make action steps. What are the actions I'm going to do this week? What are the actions I'm going to do today? Each day when I do my journal, I actually have a line on there. It's not written out. It's not a format, but called equity. What equity did I build today? That goes into the creation realm. What did I create today that's going to add value to me, my company, my family, the world, the community? So that is action, and it gets down to it. I was listening to, I'm not a real fan of how he talked, I think it's Jim Rogan this week, and he had a long blurb, or somebody put together, motivation YouTube channel put together a long blurb of action statements that he had about taking action, being active, being alive. I argue that at a minimum you need to create more than you consume. I'm a big fan of budgeting, and my wife and I have taught Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and it's really simple. You make this much money and you spend this much money. If we take that in this realm of using your time to create stuff and use stuff, it's not exactly like money, but it is, because it's our time. What are we using our time for? Are we using our time to create and take action? Do you need to consume and learn? Yeah. Years ago, our oldest was struggling with video games. Well, he still is, and he's going to carry that for a while till he solves it. But he came to me with a wicked sweet argument, and he said, well, if I get busy reading books, that's just as brain wasting as playing video games, right? And I'm like, I think I said no right away, because that's what you're supposed to say, right? You take reading books over playing on the video games. But if you're reading fiction all day long, and that's what you're doing, you're consuming. You're not creating any value. You're escaping. I guess that's part of it too. When you're consuming, you're escaping. You're accepting where you're at and saying, I like where I'm at and I'm okay with it. Or you might be really saying, I don't like where I'm at and I'm not okay with it, and there's nothing I can do about it, and I feel trapped. And I'm going to consume stuff that gives me that glazed over. It's like alcohol. I'm going to consume stuff that gives me that glazed over thing that says, I feel good today, I'm okay with the world the way it is, and I'm going to move forward with this fog. And maybe that's where it starts. It's just as bad as drugs. If you sit and play video games all day, if you sit and read books that don't create action, it's a waste of time. If you sit and read about how to draw or how to create pottery or how to create some artistic thing and you don't do anything, why not just, it's the same as you're throwing your life away. You're throwing your life away. If you're taking action and doing something that's changing and offering value, beauty, help to others, that is creating. So I challenge you this week to raise your create level. Get on the screen here, I'm like backwards. Raise the create level and lower the consumption level. In fact, when you're consuming, choose what you're going to consume, that it is a factor that's going to help you create more. And if you start getting into that habit, you got to start at 50-50. You got to start matched. But I argue that it should be 90-10 or 80-20. 80-20 rule? Not quite. But you got to create more than you consume. You've got to create more than you consume. What is consuming? It's reading. It's listening to podcasts. It's watching YouTube. It's even worse when you watch YouTube and you flick to the thing. It's scroll doom when you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, and you're just scroll dooming. Instagram, TikTok, scroll doom. We'll give a title to all of that. So become a creator. If you are a creator, measure your creation and measure your consumption, and just see where you're at, because we don't change what we don't measure. So take something in your life, take control of your life, and measure it all for a week. Take a week and measure everything and see where you lie as your starting point, and then make a decision going forward of what you're going to do to change that, or what you need to do to change it. What do you see that doesn't align with your abundant life? And that's today's pillar, an abundant life. So thank you for stopping in today. Thanks for checking this out. Share it with your friends. Hit the like or the that's cool or the share, and spread the word. I'm going to give little hints every week or more on my 5 pillars: God, family, abundant life, adventure, and technology. And I'll see you next week. You be blessed.